struggles that they face during achieving the competency over the language. He's here to help us. He has been guiding several students, and we are fortunate to have him. He'll give you hints and tips and clues to overcome all the difficulties that you have while learning English. Very informal, down to earth, and student friendly teacher. Feel free to ask any kind of question regarding English language after his lecture is over. The question answer session. Feel free, whatever you may find. It sounds silly question. No, don't feel like that. He'll be there to give you answers to all your queries regarding English language. I know. I think the major question Alkesh bhai or English में एक तो शूज है कि it becomes an international language. Why English? बधाने English तो मानो है. English में BA कर कुछ है. और પછી grudge भी है कि why English? है ना? Can sorry बोलवान, can thank you बोलवान. So with the origin and development, which is his topic today, I think he will be answering our questions. The conclusion that we have why English has such an important place in the world all over. And actually भाषाओं में आपके पास एक choice थी, तो we chose English. आपने English में पसंद करी, तो can? What are the factors contributing to this? I welcome Alkesh. Thank you once again for coming. Please come.
For your kind words. Good morning, all students.
Morning, sir.
I'm Dr. Alkesh Patel, College. Today, technically, I am an expert. Technically, I said, because you have sent me an invitation and I have come here to deliver this talk. So far as I feel, I am not really an expert, but I am a student still learning like you about the topic we are going to discuss today. I do not even teach this topic regularly in my college, but it is my love of English language and it is the persuasive skills of my friend Dr. that made me live, also made me record a lecture on YouTube in 2020 during the Corona epidemic. I think I also delivered one talk online in 2021 and I was taken unawares this time because to refresh my knowledge on the topic. Although I tried to do my best, I do not know whether I will be able to give justice or not. It depends upon you. There are, as Madam said, there are no silly questions, there can be only silly answers. So I welcome you to ask any questions that you have in mind regarding the subject. I will begin. I will read the lecture which I finished only last night at 10 o'clock. what is going to be the quality like. And I'm not conversant with the technology. So, as you can see in this map, all countries marked with red color plus USA. Right? These all countries speak English, either as first language or second language. So, English had a very rapid progress which you cannot imagine in the last 6 centuries, from 580 to 2021, 21st century. So we begin. My first point is English as a global language. English had a humble beginning in the 5th century in the British Isles as a transplanted variety of Low German. But it has come a long way to become the global language today. The history of the growth and development of the English language is like an adventure story in which a pauper ends up being the prince. About 350 million people speak English as the first language, and more than 430 million people as a second language. English is the official language of some of the most prosperous and powerful countries in the world. As you can see in the map, Canada, English is the official language of some countries in Africa and Asia. As a second language or official language, terms from English are used throughout the world in arts, aviation, commerce, diplomacy, scholarship, and science and technology. Over 500 years ago, the English language was spoken by 1 out of every 100 persons in the world. This is unbelievable. And all of them lived in a small area we now call Great Britain. Today, roughly 1 out of 8 persons in the world speaks English. We are some of them. Without any doubt, English is the most powerful language in our time. One language expert carries the comments. I will quote the words: "The spectacular advance of English across the face of the globe is a phenomenon without parallel in the history of language." You don't need to note down points. I will give you the answer. I will send the answer to you. Now, when we are talking about English as a global language, we should also gratefully mention the contribution made by Sir William Jones. Genetically, English belongs to the Indo-European family of languages. Sir William Jones came to Calcutta in 1783 after being appointed the judge of the Supreme Court of India. Before coming to India, he knew Latin, Greek, Hebrew, Arabic, Persian, and many other languages. By the time he died in 1794, he knew 28 languages. He learned Sanskrit during his stay in India. And very surprisingly or very shockingly, Indian teachers, Indian gurus were not willing to teach Sanskrit to Sir B.M. Jones. He had to sit 9 feet away from his teacher because being a Christian he was a village impure. In 1784, Jones founded the Islamic Society to promote Oriental research. In February 1786, he presented his famous theory that Sanskrit, Latin, and Greek could have sprung from some common source because they had so much similarity in terms of vocabulary and grammar. However, Jones was not the first scholar to point out similarities between these Indian and European languages. But his observations inspired German philologists to search for the supposed common source between Sanskrit and the classical European languages. This search led ultimately to the discovery of the Indo-European family of languages, like English, many North Indian languages, including our own Gujarati, belong to this family of languages. Now the history of English starts in Great Britain. You can see the map of Great Britain. Great Britain's twins, 3 territories: England, Scotland, and Wales. And when we say the United Kingdom, we have to include Northern Ireland. So UK and Great Britain remain somewhat some different meanings. This is the map of Great Britain, lying to the northwest of continental Europe. Great Britain is an island in the North Atlantic Ocean. It is made up of 3 countries: England, Scotland, and Wales. Combined together, Great Britain and Northern Ireland constitute the United Kingdom. In this talk, we will use the term Britain to mean Great Britain or the United Kingdom. The Celts had settled. Celts were a tribe, like the Germanic tribes, had settled in Britain in about 400 BC, before Christ. Early forms of Celtic languages, I think you should make a search on the net about the Celtic people, Celtic populations, because Celtic languages were very much dominant before the rise of English. Combined together, Celts are settled in Britain in about 400 BC. Early forms of Celtic languages were spoken in Britain when Britain became an outpost of the Roman Empire in Western Europe. So the Roman rule extended till Britain. The Celtic Britain had been a Roman colony for about 400 years before the coming of the Germanic tribes to that territory. From the middle of the 3rd century, London was the administrative and commercial capital of the British province of the Roman Empire. English words like candle, cup, mint, street, wall, way, wine, now these are all basic words. They have come from Latin. The Romans left Britain in 410 AD. Latin was, so they left Britain. Finally, they started living Britain in 410 AD and they finally left Britain in 435 after 25 years. So with them, the time means the power of the Latin language was also over. With the departure of the Romans, Latin was no more important language in Britain. But Latin was to come back in another form after some years. We will talk about that. Now, here you can see the map. We have divided the history of the English language in 3 periods. That is for academic discussion, because such divisions are always artificial, but they help us to understand the subject. So, Old English, that extends from 600 to 1100, Middle English period from 1100 to 1500, and Modern English period divided into 2 parts, extends from 1500 onwards. So, Old English period, the Roman Empire, the invasions of the Germanic tribes and the Vikings, and the coming of Christianity are important factors in the growth of the English language in Old English period. Now let us have a look at the homeland of the Anglo-Saxons and Jews. I still remember when I was in 3rd year BA, and for the first time one of our professors talked about Anglo-Saxons and Jews. So I was wondering where they were originally from. So this is their homeland. You can see Jews in blue color, Angles, yellow color, and Saxons. So these are parts of northern Germany and Denmark. So after the departure of the Romans, a Celtic king sought the help of the Jews to fight the tribes of the Scots and Picts. Now, Scots and Picts lived in what is today's Scotland, which is part of Great Britain. So, the Celtic king wanted help from the Jews. About 449 AD, the Jews migrated. They provided help, but they also settled in England. Migrated in great numbers from their homeland in Jutland, that is Denmark and northern Germany, and settled in Kent. 2 more fellow Germanic tribes. Now also understand the word Germanic. There was one tribe named Germany, but the Roman historian Tacitus thought that all white tribes were Germanic tribes, belong to Germanic tribes. All white people belong to, semi-barbaric people belong to. So he called them Germanic tribes. But there were many different tribes. 2 more fellow Germanic tribes, the Angles and the Saxons, followed them to Britain. So they were like brothers. You don't understand the relation. The native Celts fled after their invasion. The native Celts fled to Wales, which is now part of Britain, and to Scotland for safety. Some of the Celts crossed the sea, crossed the English Channel, and settled in what is now Brittany in northern France. I will show you the map. Now here you can see the Britannia. This is French, I will get English. Britannia. They have also written Brittany. So Celtic language spoken, that is Breton, B-R-E-T-O-N, Breton language is still spoken there, Celtic language. So some of them went to Britain, France, northern France. Now, I would like to show you the settlement of the Germanic tribes in the sections. You can see in the map, you can read. Right? did not even begin as a single homogeneous language. See, the three Germanic tribes, the Angles, Saxons and the Jews, that migrated from across the North Sea and settled in Britain spoke various dialects of the same language. Dialects, you know. So like Masana. So they spoke the same language but different dialects. And that dialect was Low German. Because West Germanic branch of Indo-European languages has two types, Low German, High German. Low has nothing to do with quality. Low German because they were the people who spoke that language lived in lowlands, and people who lived in the higher level that is called High German. So Low German, about 600 AD, maybe after 100 years. The Germanic dialects merged into one. When people come together, languages also merge to create a new language, and that was called Anglisk in the old time, which later became English. Even today, the French word for England is Angleterre. Angleterre is the land of the Angles. The mingling of these dialects has provided English its basic structure. So English is still a Germanic language. The language got its name from the Angles, also spelled E-N-G-E-L-S. The Celtic tongues, there are so many Celtic languages like Gaelic, Welsh, Cornish, Servite, the 4 centuries of Roman occupation. As I told you, before the coming of the Germanic tribes, England was occupied by the Romans. So they did not destroy the population, they did not destroy their languages, but these Celtic languages did not survive the migration of the Germanic tribes because they were so dominant, except in parts of Wales and Scotland. So, as I told you, people fled to a safe place in Wales and Scotland. However, there are very few words in English from Celtic languages, except some place names like London, Dover, Kent, river names like Avon, Thames, Avon. It meant Afon, A-F, because boy and boy are closely related. So Afon means river. So Avon comes from Celtic language, are of Celtic origin. Now, Latin language comes back again to Britain in a different form, in a different mode. This time it came with Christianity. You know, Roman Catholic Church, their language is Latin. In 597 AD, Pope Gregory I sent Saint Augustine to Britain with a mission to convert the heathens to Christianity. Heathens means who do not follow Christianity. In the next 100 years, Christianity spread across the entire land of Britain. People willingly accepted Christianity. The Roman Catholic Church was an enormously important cultural influence in England. The Christian missionaries gave the English language its alphabet, the alphabet that we still follow. Venerable Bede wrote his history of the English people in Latin. Even English grammar follows the model of the Latin grammar. Venerable Bede wrote his history of the English people in Latin. Words that entered the English lexicon through the church portals, through Christianity, include abbot, angel, bishop, clarinet, hymn, marker, mass, minster, monk, nun, priest, shrine, temple. These are all related with religion. Now there was another invasion this time by another tribe, the Vikings. Now, the early history of English language is associated with invasions. The next stage in the development of the English language is associated with a series of invasions from northern Europe. The Vikings from Scandinavia, that is Norway, Sweden, began to raid Britain for plunder in 1787. Earlier they started plundering and looting, but later on they started, maybe after 50 years, they started settling in England. But from the middle of the 9th century, they settled in northern and eastern parts of the country. You can see Day-3, that is territory. That territory was occupied by the Vikings. And Vikings are not invaded only England, but many other countries in Europe. And Dublin in Ireland was one of their power centers. In the 870s, it looked as if the Vikings would completely conquer England. Vikings would have conquered the entire England, but for the king Alfred the Great. Alfred the Great, the king of Wessex. You can see Wessex in the west side, southwest, united the Anglo-Saxon tribes and defended his kingdom from the Vikings. The Viking king Guthrum and Alfred the Great made a treaty. So when he defeated them in a treaty which recognized the right of the Danes, that is Vikings, to stay in the east of England, in the territory which came to be called the Danelaw. Danelaw means their law prevailed there in that territory. In other parts, the English law prevailed. Thereafter, the Danes and the English mixed with each other, both socially and culturally. And as a part of the treaty, Guthrum also accepted Christianity. Now it is interesting that Alfred the Great promoted reading and writing of English. That is more interesting. With state assistance, means he paid for the promotion of English. He got 3 Latin texts, including British history, into English, translated into English. He commissioned the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, which continued to be updated till the Norman conquest in 1066. The Vikings were also a Germanic tribe. Means all the Germanic tribes, they had common language, common source of languages. Their language is known as Old Norse. The Britons, means the British, spoke only English at that time, and it must not have been difficult from them to understand the dialects of Old Norse. So you can imagine something like, for example, Gujarati and Marathi, they descend from Sanskrit. So if you go to Maharashtra, even if you don't know Marathi, you will be able to understand some words. Even what happens, our children, Gujarati children, they watch Hindi movies, Hindi serials, and they understand words. So it's something like that. So Britons and Vikings, they understood the languages of each other. Now there are about 1400 words that entered English through Old Norse. The Vikings were barbarians, means wild people. They fought territorial battles with the Britons till 1013. So they were strong people, they were warmongers. It is no wonder, and your language also reflects your behavior. It is no wonder that they have contributed the two English words that suggest violence. One word is slaughter, that is violent, and ransack means to kill, ransack, to destroy. Similarly, Old English and Old Norse words competed for a long time. It happens. For a long time with each other for supremacy in English. Old Norse word anger overtook Old English word wrath. So wrath is Old English word, anger is Old Norse. The English words, but the Old English words no and from respectively displaced the Old Norse ne, because another word for no is ne and another word for from is fro. So these English words were accepted. The English words egg, fellow, husband, skin, sky, ugly, window are of Old Norse origin. The personal pronouns, this is a good contribution. The personal pronouns they and them are also from the same source, from Old Norse. Old Norse has enriched English grammar with prepositions like down, from, in, to, up, etc. And there is one extra text from the Old English, that is Beowulf, that was probably composed between 700 and 1000 AD, and that is the only surviving epic in Old English. Its west section dialect sounds of foreign language. Now Old English sounds like a foreign language. You cannot understand without expert's help. The poem shows how complex the Old English grammar was. Now we come to the second part, second stage in the development of the English language, that is Middle English period. Old English period ended with the Norman conquest of England. The transition from Old English to Middle English took place under the shadow of the French language. The other important factors in the development of English during this period are the Crusades, that is Holy Wars, and the early Bible translations by scholars like John Wycliffe. I will show you where the Normans came from. Can you see Normandy? Normandy, that is Normandy, yes. So that is the homeland of, that is part of northern France. Now King Harold of England was killed on October 14, 1066 at the Battle of Hastings, fighting William I, the Duke of Normandy. So William was the Duke, not the King. Northern France. William, who became the King of England after killing Harold, has come to be known as William the Conqueror. For the next century and a half, England and Normandy were one kingdom. So, William the Conqueror was the King of England and Duke of Normandy. The new French rulers of England were known as Normans, that is Northmen. These Normans were also Vikings. As I told you earlier, that Vikings invaded many territories in Europe, including England, and they also settled England after some centuries. They were in fact the descendants of Vikings who had settled in northern France. But unlike the Vikings in England, these Normans spoke Old French and not Old Norse. That was the only difference. The Normans spoke rural French dialect and not the standard Parisian language. Now the French are very particular, very much careful about their language. I think they established Académie Française in the 17th century. Now that academy decides what happens to the French language, and we have no academy like that in English. The Normans regarded Old English as a language of peasants and lower classes. Now see, English is relegated to a second-class position. English is not respected anymore. The French aristocrats and educated Britons spoke only French, like the English over India. They spoke English, and educated Indians, they spoke English. The court and the government functioned only in that language for about a century and a half. Now you understand the position of English. So it is no more a prestigious language. The Normans had relegated Old English to a subservient position and tried their best to smother it. They did not want English. However, circumstances saved English. The Normans lost their French territories in 1204. They lost the territories to the King of France, Philip. And now they were in power only in England. And their French connection was lost forever. The Norman loss of the French territories was the gain for the English language. Now, one's loss is somebody else's gain. English not only survived the Norman conquest, but also revived in about 2 centuries after the Norman rule. Now see the difference between Old Norse and Old French. Old Norse was a Germanic language having great similarities with Old English, whereas French is an Italic language like Portuguese, Spanish, and Roman languages. French and Italic language derived from Latin with a difference in grammar and vocabulary. Now the contact with French caused many changes in 4 aspects of English. Because I told you, French is an Italic language. The changes were caused in grammar, pronunciation, spelling, and vocabulary. Now French pronunciation is very much different because I did level 1 of French diploma. So I know a little bit of French. Old English was a highly inflected language like German and Russian. You know inflections. During Middle Age period, inflections began to weaken and word order became increasingly fixed. Because loss of inflections means you have to use a fixed word order. English affixes were combined with another change was English affixes were combined with French words or vice versa to form new words. For example, the English suffix, Old English suffix, SIP, that is SCIP, was affixed with French word companion, that is companion means companion, to form the English noun companionship, SHIP. English pronunciations and spellings were changed in line with the French language. French language made the greatest impact on English in the field of vocabulary. Thousands of French words were introduced in English language during the Middle English period. The new French words mostly dealt with the fields of government, law, food, art, literature, medicine, etc. The Normans introduced the legal system in Britain. The legal terms in English like attorney, indict, license, plaintiff, prison, verdict are of French origin. Geoffrey Chaucer. Now, by the time Chaucer is called the father of English poetry. By the time he started learning English, the fusion of Old English and Norman French was complete. Chaucer's Canterbury Tales established English as a language fit for literary expression. Now, for a century and a half, English was considered a very unsophisticated language. Now, Chaucer established the prestige of English language by writing his Canterbury Tales. Chaucer knew Latin, French, and Italian. His English is enriched with words and expressions from these European linguistic traditions. Now, after the end of the Norman rule, in 1362, English became the language of the Parliament. Now, English is gaining new prestige after a century and a half. Language of the Parliament and the judicial system. The need for clarity in written communication required a standard variety of language. Because when you use language in the Parliament and in the court, you need a standard variety. So, therefore, new variety, standard variety was needed, and because London, the national capital, and the universities of Oxford and Cambridge were located in the region, the East Midlands dialect of English attained that position. Chaucer also used it. So Chaucer established the language, the importance of the language. Now, as I mentioned, crusades, that is holy wars, for the control of Jerusalem. The fight between Christian and Muslim kingdoms from 11th to 13th century. Now, many new words, Arabic words, many new words of Arabic and Eastern origin entered the English language during Middle English period because of the crusades. These words include algebra, SSC, azure, orange, etc. They are from Arabic and Eastern origin. Now about the Bible translation. John Wycliffe, the Oxford theologian, desired to make the Bible. I think you studied Bible translation, King James Version in St. Paul, so you know. What desired to make the Bible accessible to English people. He got the Latin Vulgate Bible translated into English with the help of his team. Initially, the church authorities did not raise any objection to the English translation, but as it gained popularity among the common folk, they banned it. Wycliffe was branded heretic, but 1,000 words derived from Latin origin gained currency in common English through Wycliffe's translation of the Bible. Middle English period is thus remarkable for the extraordinary growth of the English vocabulary. Now we come to the last stage, last and the most important stage, modern English period. Modern English period extends from 1500 onwards, starts from 1500 onwards, and it is divided into two parts. The early modern period from 1500 to 1700, and the late modern period from 1700 till date. A wide number of factors contributed to the growth and global spread of English during this period. The printing press, the Renaissance, the Reformation, the King James Bible, the discoveries of the Americas, the Industrial Revolution, the British Empire, the media, and last but not least, the Internet. Moreover, writers like Shakespeare have remarkably influenced the growth of English. Significant phonological changes took place in English during the century following Chaucer's Day-3 1400. In 1476, William Caxton brought the printing press from Germany to England. As you know, John Gutenberg started printing press in Germany. The printed word requires standard forms of grammar and spelling. So written language is more formal than speech. Caxton had to make his choices out of available dialects. You can understand his position. Various dialects existed and he had to make the choice. To some extent, it is said Caxton is responsible for the in many English words. The second factor is Renaissance. Renaissance, you know, is rebirth, that is new learning. The Renaissance began in Europe with the fall of Constantinople to the Turks in 1453. Means Italian scholars, Greek scholars, they migrated to Italy after the fall of the Constantinople. It was a period of intellectual reawakening and revival of classical learning, that is Greek and Latin. The Renaissance movement enriched English with thousands of Latin and Greek words. In earlier times, Latin words found their way into English via French. As I told you, French is an Italic language that is descended from Latin, and there are 29% words in English from French and another 29% words from Latin. So Latin words found their way to English via French earlier, but during the Renaissance, English borrowed Latin and Italian words directly. As you know the expression by Shakespeare, it is Greek and Latin to me. It's something which you cannot understand. The Reformation was a religious and political movement, and it came about as a consequence of the Renaissance. The Reformation was a religious and political movement which had its own impact on English. One of the greatest outcomes of the Reformation was the English translation of the Bible known as the King James Bible or the Authorized Versions. The Puritans wanted a standard translation of Bible, and the result was the KJV, King James Version. King James the first ordered that only the authorized version could be read in the churches in the British territories. The Bible has proved one single source of the deepest influence on the development of English language for 400 years. Next, Shakespeare's English influence on English is second only to that of the Bible translations. He has given about 2,000 words to English. Milton himself was greatly influenced by the Bible translations in Shakespeare. He has contributed about 630 new words to English. Next influence is that of America. The discovery of the new world, that is Americas, finally led to the European settlement in what is now the USA. The British, means USA, has population from many different European countries, but the British were the dominant of all the European nationalities there. The discovery of the American continent has proved instrumental in the growth of a distinct variety of English. US English and UK English, they are very much different from each other, as you know. After the declaration of independence in 1776, the US English drifted more and more apart from the British variety. Now, before that, they used to follow the English, British English. Some writers have commented, I think Oscar Wilde or George Bernard Shaw, someone has commented that Great Britain and the USA are two nations divided by the same language, that is English. Today, English owes its influence and power more to USA rather than to what was once mother country, what was once called mother country by the Americans. The Industrial Revolution in the 18th century and the British Empire took English to the farthest corners of the world. As you can see in the map, at one point of time, the British Empire covered 1/4 area of the earth. It was rightly said that the sun never set on the British Empire. If it set in India, maybe it rose in Canada. The media and the internet have promoted the growth of the English language and have also been dominated by English. Because today, if you use internet, you will find more of English than any other language. So, to conclude, I can say English began as a Germanic dialect in Britain, but it has been undergoing constant changes for the last 6 centuries. When Dr. Johnson published his dictionary in 1755, some people thought that the English has been stabilized forever. Since then, thousands of new words have found their place into English. We cannot, at present, you cannot predict what kind of changes are going to take place in English in the next few decades. But we can be sure that English language will remain at heart a Germanic language. In the 16th century, now the story is interesting. This is the story, adventure story of English. Because in the 16th century, Sir Thomas More and Sir Francis Bacon wrote their important works in Latin because they had little confidence in English. They were not sure whether English would last or not. In fact, during the 6th centuries, English has grown beyond anyone's imagination. The success of English, however, the success of English has come at the expense of many other languages. I said this, because I find many parents in Gujarat sending their wards, their children to English medium schools, and they do not want their children to learn Gujarati or their mother tongue. So, success of English is at the expense of, and I think English is not responsible for that. We are responsible. And we always accuse Macaulay of imposing English on Indians. But in fact, so far as I understand, they did not want to destroy Indian languages. They wanted Indians to learn their vernacular languages also. But Indians did not want to do that. So, in the struggle against the British for the Indian independence, Mahatma Gandhi was not against English, but its undue dominance. Mahatma Gandhi, non-violent man, who was not against anyone, anything. He was not even against English, but he was against the undue dominance of English. He noted in his autobiography, that is part 3, chapter 14. I will quote his words. He says, I observed too with sorrow even then. His autobiography was completed in 1925. I observed too with sorrow even then the prominent place that the English language occupied in our affairs. So that is the story of English. With this, I end my talk, and the session is open for your questions. Please feel free. The questions you have in your mind.
Session is open for question and answer. तो आप लोगों के पास जो भी कोई क्वेश्चन हो वो अभी हिस्ट्री ऑफ ग्रोथ डेवलपमेंट ऑफ ओरिजिन ऑफ इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज, इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज कहाँ से कहाँ आपको पूरी जर्नी अलकेश सर ने करवाई. I proudly say that he is my PhD guide and a very scholarly person. कई बार जो लोग पीएचडी करते हैं उनको पता होता है कि किस तरह का ट्रीटमेंट उनके साथ होता है गाइड के द्वारा, बट ही नेवर लेट मी फील लाइक दैट. ही ऑलवेज ट्रीटेड मी लाइक हिज यंगर ब्रदर एंड ऑलवेज गाइडेड मी इन अ वंडरफुल वे. घर जाके उनके घर जाके उनका खाना खा के मेरे को सिखा देते. सो थैंक यू वेरी मच अल्केश भाई. और ऐसा लाइक ही ट्रीट्स all his students in that way. You will not find Alkesh Bhai without a book. उनके पास बुक होती ही हमेशा, चाहे वो गाड़ी में हो कहीं भी हो, to find him with a book. अगर बुक नहीं है तो मोबाइल, उनका आईफोन या आईपैड जिसमें ई-रीडर, किंडल सब इंस्टॉल है. और he also listens to the audio books whenever he is travels, he drives his car. तो वहाँ पे भी उनकी ऑडियो बुक चल रही होती है. तो he always listen to the books. Thank you very much, Alkesh bhai. Now I request the students to ask questions because जो भी कोई questions हो, सर ने पहले ही बोला आप लोगों को कि चिंता मत करो. Questions कैसे भी हो, उसमें भी आपको बोला questions आपके कैसे भी हो, क्यूरियोसिटी होनी चाहिए सीखने की नया. तो आपके क्वेश्चंस आर वेलकम. तो सर इज देयर टू आंसर आवर क्वेश्चंस. क्वेरीज. यस.
Would you please repeat your question and maybe you can break up your question into different parts. Because I so I repeat the question. So far as I understand, it's a Greek and Latin were very good language. Very good because language is always associated with the culture. That is what you want to make, and they are great cultures. I think language, I think, is always associated with power. Because in India, if you see, look at the history of India, India accepted English after the British occupied the power, after the British became masters of India, and before that, we had Persian during the Muslim rule, Persian or Arabic, because Persian was more popular, and Arabic is more or less associated with religious activities. But Persian was the official language before the British came here. After the British rule, English replaced Persian. But I think it is a matter of power. And we speak English today because you have economic advantages, you have better jobs, maybe you have better access, right? So, culture is very important. Nowadays, people don't learn Sanskrit. We say Sanskrit is great language and so and so. How many people go to? In fact, Sanskrit in my college, main Sanskrit language, main Sanskrit paper means we removed Sanskrit as a main subject. So no students come. Do you think I have answered your, do you get my point? Well, languages, there was Greek, Latin. See, your question is very interesting. I think in 150 AD, the Romans established their rule over Greece. Before the Romans started controlling Western Europe, they were the masters of Greece. And what is important? The Roman rulers engaged Greek teachers to teach their children. Right? Because they respected Greek culture, and they accepted many things. And in fact, Greek became popular through the Roman rule. Otherwise, it wouldn't have become so popular. So, is there any other question? Please? I failed to understand exactly what you want to say. So, could you please repeat or ask? Do you have any additional questions? The Islamic society was an individual work. Sir William Johnson's work, or a few scholars, few British scholars who were interested. I think this is the greatest service the British have done to India. And there was a large group of officers who wanted to study India, who in fact the subject of Indology had their beginning in these researches, in these studies. But क्यों नहीं किया, I don't know. Now you know what is Greater India? Have you heard about Greater India? Do you know anyone Greater India? Do you have mobile here? Search in Google. Greater India. No, okay, please feel free to ask questions. I think you will find your answer there. India also established its colonies. Right? So do we have words from their language? People in power always establish their habits, their culture, their language. We will also do that. So I don't think the English did anything wrong. And moreover, in India, people who knew Sanskrit, they were not willing to learn Prakrit, regional languages. So linguistic chauvinism is always there. People do it. You or me, it makes no difference. Yes.
Sir, what are the basic differences between classic Shakespeare and Milton writing? I want to ask, I also know about the between transition to the Old English, Middle English, chronology. What are the basics transition they make?
Basic transition in the sense,
In sense of writing, like grammatical rules, we can follow the grammatical rules, or we can say themes of their writing.
now this is a very vast subject and you will need to do PhD or research. Interesting questions, but given all my duties or responsibilities and teaching workload and all that, I cannot say that, but you need to go into details. Right? So basic structure, we cannot get to know without making a detailed study. Yes, but this is a very difficult question and I think I encourage you to do research in future. Now see, it is not possible to pinpoint each and everything. For example, Gujarati. Narsim Mehta used different kind of Gujarati. Dayaram used different kind of Gujarati. Narmal used different kind of Gujarati. Gurutra used different kind. So can anyone do the pinpoint? And expert, you have to devote years and years to find that out. And I think it would be better if it would be doing a better service if you try to find out the growth of the Gujarati language. You get my point? Because there are so many people who study English, but there are very few people to do that for our language. So I am not saying Gujarati is great or Sanskrit is great. For me, all languages are equal. But it's a vast subject, and at the moment I have no answer. But if you are interested for a particular subject, a particular word, you can go to the website etymology.com and you will find. Now I think all old periods are complex. If you read Gujarati, maybe Narsi Mehta or Mirabai, or before that, you will find it complex. I think Nandisakar Mehta, the first novelist, Karan Gallo, even if you read that book, you will find Gujarati complex. Because languages always change and improve. Have I understood your question? Because languages always change because we are now educated people. We have better resources. We have read many books. And we know much more than the old English people, than the people who lived 1500 years ago. So our language is far better. Like one generation is always better than the next, than the previous generation. You understand this idea? And we don't know, because we don't know about what English language is going to be like in future. Because nowadays in the internet, people use ICU, right? Something like today ROI, this morning I read ROI, rate of interest. So many words, I don't know what happens. Thank you, so something like take care, PC. So maybe after 50 years, some people would think, why did they use so many longer words when you have these expressions? So it is like that. Any question? Russia is not so powerful. Powerful in the sense, so many countries speak English. So you have what? So you say this is one thing. Chinese and Spanish, they are also powerful language. Because there are, as the first speakers, you have more Chinese speaking as their first language. Right? It is the most important language, very important language. It's Spanish, but there are more non-native speakers like ourselves who speak English as their second language. So English has spread around the globe, and it is powerful. And countries like USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK, they are economically prosperous, they have better resources, and I think they are even militarily, they are more powerful. And in times of trouble, these countries will get united. If USA has a problem, Australians and Canadians will help them, UK will help them. So they have more dominance, whether we are able to perceive it or not. And India is so powerful, I don't know. Because internationally, India has many problems and we have to depend on these people. Okay? So English is important because it gets you better jobs, it gets you more knowledge. If you want, see, when I was in first year BA, I offered English as my main subject, but I was under such impressions that I am an Indian and I should not learn English. It is a foreign language. But later on, I realized, I accepted the reality. And like Mahatma Gandhi, we should have a larger heart. We should accept. See, the thing is, don't forget your language. Don't forget your roots. But we only hate English and we do not learn Gujarati. You don't even read Gujarati. We don't professors. So they used to, oh, I don't know much Gujarati. So with pride they used to say. So I go to crossroads sometime, the mothers scolding children, beta, don't do that. So you are very much fond of, you are very much impressed by English. So I am proud of my language. I speak Gujarati. I can read and write Gujarati well better than English. So there is no reason not to learn English. We should. And I think India is the most prosperous or the richest country in terms of languages. So let us add English as one more language and learn it. It's okay. It's good. And I think you would be doing your better service to your country. I have started learning Punjabi. I can read Punjabi. I am an Indian. I can speak Hindi because you have an opportunity to learn all these languages. So like Muhammad said, so learn languages and as many languages as is possible. When I started learning French, but unfortunately I don't have much time to spare now. So I'm not doing it. But I will do it. If given a chance, I will learn French also. Any question? Please feel free to question. No, see, language is developed naturally, depending on the circumstances. So हम दुनिया को कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते. कभी चाइनीज रूल आए तो चाइनीज बन जाएगा इम्पोर्टेंट लैंग्वेज. So we cannot decide for others, but we can decide for ourselves. So what second language do you want to learn? You can plan for yourself. So supposing if you want to go to Canada, you can learn French because Quebec has French as a language. So you can learn any other language that you learn. My own college. No one must have some representation here.
They give feedback. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Will you come here?
Busy into research and looking up for material, I'm interested in knowing that is English still the reference language also? And socially, as you said, that English is a language of power, of manners, of sophistication, of being literate, educated, etc. But as a reference language, તમને જ્યારે મટીરિયલ શોધો છો ત્યારે એવું લાગે છે કે ઇંગ્લિશમાં more material is available, જેમ કે પંજાબી છે, but not sufficient is written in Punjabi language. If you want to know more about Punjabi and Punjabi religion and all that, is it still that English is the language of reference point as well as it's still a relevant and useful subject?
Yes. Because English do not believe in sharing. They believe in storing. If I get something good, I will give it to my son. So even I don't get books in Punjabi. I try to. And see what happens. When I started learning Guru Mukhi, I ordered some books from Amazon. I got one dictionary for 800 rupees. 800 rupees. Understand this. A small dictionary for beginners. And when I got the book, the price printed on the cover was 200 rupees. This is our great India. So, on the contrary, if you go to any library, if you search on the web, you will find many books. And many people have done research on Sikhism. So I get more books on Sikhism. More books even by Indians. Right? So one thing, English is a good reference language. And I also believe that good material must be available on various subjects, in French also, in German also, must be available, I'm sure. But we don't know those languages. So if a Frenchman starts learning about Sikhism or about something, so he will get many books. Yes, but I think the French or the Germans, they are so much proud of their language. They generally, even Japanese, when two Japanese meet, they will only use their language. And here we say India is great, and we start talking English. Right? So their love is very silent and deep. So French will speak only French. So you will get more books in French about. Can you see the movies you watch? You will find many movies on Amazon, Netflix in English and in other languages. Right? So English is going to be a reference language, a powerful language for some years to come. We do not know the future. I think they have started offering courses in regional languages, in Gujarati or Hindi, regional languages. But I think it is not a good development. I will always prefer English until and unless you have created satisfactory resources in your languages. You don't have engineering books or medical books in Gujarati or in English. Otherwise, this experiment is very dangerous. First, you must have strong roots in your culture, and then only you should implement. But these are all political matters. I think there is one good Swami who always hates foreign things. I will not name here. Who always hates everything foreign. He always talks about Swadeshi and he gives his advertisements in English. Right? So that is a double standard. First, you set up your home, create sound basics, and then talk about your goods and your products. So once upon a time I hated English, but I love English so much, and English is a part of my life, and I don't think I'm going to give up. Without English, I would not get this much respect. You would not have called me if I were to give a speech in Gujarati or Hindi.
Now, feedback time from the students. I welcome student or two to give feedback for today's lecture. English, Gujarati, Hindi, कोई पण विषयમાં તમે feedback તમારો આપશો.
Good morning everyone. I am Pratiksha Murkar from Siusha Arts College studying in Sem 6. Today's lecture was very descriptive with a wonderful presentation. And sir, you made this lecture very interesting. You give lot of information about English language and we learned about many more information. And you also explain the old English period, middle English period and modern English period as very well. And this is very useful for us for the exam answers. And thank you so much for the lecture.
Good morning, I am Mr. Varega. Let's have a big round of applause for the university directors. Good sir. For the last 1.5, sir, you drove us so well and you explained us so well. It was full of intellectual and understandable, sir. And I am assured that this will definitely help us to score good in our essays, sir. And at this presentation, I am inspired by you to learn more and more languages, whatever be the age, but you should be not unstoppable in your life. Thank you so much, sir. Morning, everyone. Respected faculty members and all dear friends. So, yesterday also I gave feedback, and today my one more point which I left yesterday is to awaken that interest in some subject. You need that material, and at the same time you need those professors, especially to awaken that interest in grammar. Alkesh sir has the big role in my life. Generally, many students skip lectures because they think that grammar they can just make it in hours or so. But to understand every part of it, Alkesh sir has one of the biggest role in my life to understand grammar in a way which is standard grammar. And at the same time, his way of presenting things with maps and all is in our college also we present things like that awakens interest, because today's generation want that only with some pictorial graphs and all. So that helps students to understand things better. And as I already said, some things changes your life. So maybe some one lecture or one topic may make your life to dive deep into it. Like yesterday, Swati ma'am presented English poetry. So it awakens that interest into you to dive more into it and research more about it. The way it is presented, it helps, because those things are also available in Google. But it is up to the professor who explains it, it helps with examples. Thank you. organized for us as well. So we are lucky that it is organized.
Alkesh Bhai, you have been an inspiration, not only for the subject that you came for to speak about, but also your own personal pursuit to achieve excellence as much as possible in your areas of interest. I mean, imagine a new interest in a new religion, new people, a new language, and I'm definitely coming and asking you, how did you find this new attraction? So then you mentioned French as your interest in French. So as the student said, yes, at any stage of your life you can pick up a new interest and pursue it. So busy, as you said, that you didn't find much time to quickly revise and prepare things. And yet you said so we realized, otherwise it was such a thorough presentation. And with all the really minute details pointing out, making the cases, making the people, students got a fair idea how English language you grasp why it is an international language. So you saw how Sir explained that the language itself has gone through several stages of prejudices, biases, and still it struggled and came out as one of the most dominant languages of the world. So I think parallel, you gave a lesson, a personal lesson to all of us also. That's how things happen in our life as well. And still crossing all the hurdles, we sustain and survive. We do still, you started with a bias against English language, and then now it's your love, it's your first love. So for all of us, you love it or hate it. English में रहना मुझे इंडिया में तो क्या इन्हें खाओ सारा मार्क्स आते is going to stand by you in future in everything, not only career but careers in all areas, isn't it? Personal, professional, whatever. तो इंग्लिश में महत्व यहाँ रहना मुझे अने एक बहुत स्ट्रगल करीने आगे आई है आ भाषा जब सारे बहुत सारे सिद्ध आपने प्रेजेंटेशन करीने करू છે to across the city north and northern and old north and what not, and now it is there. तो इतनी जल्दी वापस नहीं जाएगी, इतनी जल्दी हार नहीं मानेगी. It has earned its place with a lot of struggle. So આપણે પણ એવું જ struggle લઈને you need to establish yourself. जब તમે બહાર નીકળી તમારા પ્રશ્નો છે, and I'm really surprised the grudge that students have कि क्यों इंग्लिश में, क्यों regional languages में, क्यों अपनी भाषा में, क्यों अरे इंग्लिश में भણી રહ્યા છો, इंग्लिश में डिग्री લેવાની છે, પણ grudge છે क्यों इंग्लिश, क्यों બીજી ભાષામાં નહીં. So I think sir has explained the reason why English, क्यों इंग्लिश में આજે આ છે position જે મળી છે. So I think that was the biggest contribution that you made today. Thoroughly prepared and very lucid presentation where students could, and at the same time having so many new terms, the North and what students are coming or the Viking, so very interesting. So make it step by step explain the vision. And all the points I can say, a quick revision of the entire history of English language. How very nice to have. Thank you, Alkesh Bhai. You so very busy. You through time carding हमारी बच्चे आगे शक्या. Always looking forward to having you with our students. આપણે એના એ જોઈએ છે પણ batch નવા આવતા જાય છે, and we keep talking about you कि हमारे वो साहब आने वाले हैं, वो ये बताएंगे. So you're always a reference point for future students as well. So do come again whenever we invite you. Thank you so much. Tomorrow, which one are you going to come? Okay. So tomorrow we meet at the same time, 9:15. Dr. Rucha Kambar from Gandhinagar Arts College, she is going to be here and she will be talking about development of 20th century American literature. So one more interesting session. Be ready. See you all tomorrow. I will thank you. Thanks once again.